And staying up on Capitol Hill, we're joined now by Congressman Cory Gardner from Colorado, a Republican. Congressman, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thank you for having me.
So we want to start right off with a quote from Senator Chuck Schumer, a Democrat from New York, where he talks about one possible way to end these continuing budget stalemates. Take a listen.
On these budget talks, he should abandon the Tea Party and work to find a bipartisan consensus. It's the only way out of this bind.
And Congressman, he's talking, of course, about House Speaker John Boehner there, and that is one solution from a Democratic senator. What do you say to that?
Well, I think the bipartisan solution is to cut spending. It's unfortunate that the United States Senate has decided there are no spending problems. They want to instead play games and think that we can continue spending funny money that we don't have. The bottom line is the American people, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, want this government to cut spending. For far too long, we've tried to do too much for too many, and it's got to stop.
Well, Congressman, you are actually one of the Republicans, I guess there were many freshmen who voted with Democrats, but a lot of your colleagues from your freshman class voted against the latest continuing resolution. Why did you support it if you think there's not enough cutting going on?
Well, again, I think we've got to cut spending. The bottom line is this. I was presented with a bill to cut spending. This is, the third time in the history of this country that we've cut spending. We've cut $10 billion in spending. It's not enough. We've got to do more. But at the end of the day, we have got to put this country on a path toward a balanced budget. And the only way we're going to do that is by shrinking the size of government.
Is that answer good enough, though, for your constituents back home who elected you? You were clearly backed by the Tea Party movement back in Colorado, who want you to go there and say enough is enough. Does that answer work for them?
Well, absolutely. They want more, and that's what we're here to do. And so over the next several months, we're going to be dealing with the budget resolution that doesn't just deal with billions of dollars, but takes a look at the 10-year trillion-dollar picture. And so with $14 trillion in debt, we've got about a $14.5 trillion economy. We're almost one-to-one in terms of debt to economic output. It's unacceptable. And the people of my district in Colorado, the people around this country, they want Washington to stop doing what it's doing, and that's to run the printing presses full-time, get serious about its work, and that's exactly what we're doing by cutting spending.
Congressman, I want to just bring up one interesting statistic. The Washington Post, ABC conducted a poll this week and found that on the issue of the budget deficit, the president actually has a 12-point advantage over Republicans on the issue of who do you think is best able to handle this. You guys have been talking nonstop about cutting the budget deficit, and yet voters trust him more. What's going on there?
Well, I think that's just a sign that Congress needs to get its act together, that we've got to get the Senate to agree that we have major problems facing this country, and those major problems deal and end with a $14 trillion debt. I don't care who's leading in the polls over who. The bottom line is the American people expect us to get to work and cut spending, and that's what we're going to do.
Congressman, does the Speaker have a problem trying to keep his caucus aligned at this point? You have a very vocal Tea Party portion of the Republican Party in the House. Does the Speaker have a problem trying to keep everybody along the same page for this, especially on these budget votes?
No, the page is this. There is a group of Republican members who all want to cut spending. There's no difference of opinion. Every single one wants to cut spending. How we get there, there may be differences of opinions, but the bottom line is there is no problem that Speaker Boehner is facing. Everybody wants to cut spending.
Do you think in the end, Congressman, that there's going to be a deal, or are we just going to see a continuing resolution after continuing resolution until the end of this fiscal year?
I think the American people deserve a budget that actually does what we have been saying all along, and that reflects the values that November 2nd showed to the country. The values to shrink the size of government, grow the economy, and cut spending. So that is something that we have got to do in our either the budget resolution that comes forward over the next 6 months, and the continuing resolution that goes forward over the next 6 months, or the continuing resolution and budget resolution combined. We have got to show the American people that we've gotten the message November 2nd sent, and we're going to grow our economy, cut spending.
Well, Congressman, thank you very much for joining us on Top Line. Look forward to talking to you in the near future.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
All right, and Karen, they've got a lot of work to do to try to get this thing done. They've got a little bigger window, but not much time.
Right, we're just back again. Now it's 3 weeks, and as we said earlier, the negotiations are already continuing already starting for that next continuing resolution. It doesn't end.
Never
Kick the
ends.
can.
But
Kick the can.
That's right. We never kick the can here. Tune in tomorrow.